G'day, AJ.
G'day, Mo.
How are ya?
I'm doing good.
That's good.
I'm ready for another episode.
Well, listen, welcome to, I've lost track of what number we're at, but welcome to another episode of Songs on the Couch.
Sitting down, we're talking out, breaking it down, songs on the couch. Music and minds will figure it out, laughing and learning what it's all about. On the couch.
So tell me, AJ, what song are we bringing on over to the couch today?
We are bringing over some real bad habits to the couch.
Oh, not good ones.
Not some good ones.
Oh,
No. Some very bad habits.
Oof.
By a lovely, is he still, I would say, young artist?
Oh, yeah, he was
Mr.
born
Ed
in the 90s. Yeah,
Oh,
so
yeah. Oof,
young.
very young. What is with all these young artists doing so well? Good on
Well,
them.
no,
but
he's probably not.
God damn, I'm jealous.
I mean, he's in his 30s now, but for us, that's young. Well, for
That's
me.
young, yeah.
Anywho, carry on.
By
Who?
Mr. Ed Sheeran.
Miss-
Mr. Ed Sheeran.
Yay! Mr. Ed Sheeran. Oh, look, I'm excited about this one. I'm
glad one half of us are
I
excited
know,
about
right?
this.
Because I know that you don't really know very much about our lovely friend Ed Sheeran. No, and because you're still stuck in the 70s with your music taste, so. But I'm a big fan. I mean, I'm not a huge fan. I don't own any of his albums. No disrespect, but I'm sure he's getting paid off my royalties from like. You know,
Spotify listens.
my Spotify listens, or
Yeah.
shows that I've watched that his songs have appeared in.
Yes.
But
I think he's doing just fine without you.
Yeah,
Mo.
I think
he's doing all right.
I think he's doing.
I don't think he's going to lose any sleep over it.
I really don't think an album sale or a purchase from me is going to mean the difference between the life of luxury and the breadline for him. So,
That's right.
but I'll tell you why I'm excited about this episode.
Okay.
I actually,
Please tell me.
So I actually really respect Ed Sheeran because he is a case study in grit and determination. If you just keep plugging away at what you love and you keep on doing it, then you chuck a few things at the wall and they'll stick eventually. He is sort of an example of true grit. But anyway, what's really exciting me about this today is because this is the very song that made me think, there's a lot of psychological constructs in music and maybe we should discuss them. And then I thought, how would that go if we put that in a podcast? And so when this song came out, I don't know what it prompted. I think I was doing like some training maybe, and I was like thinking, training in a particular mode of therapy. I think it might have been schema therapy. I was doing a bit of training in, which for the folks at home, we'll talk about schemas later, what they are. But, when you're training, you kind of sort of trying to think about how things relate to, the constructs, how they relate to real world things.
Yeah.
Okay. And when I sort of heard this song and was on the radio, because I was still listening to the radio then, I know, weird. Like, who listens to the radio anymore when Spotify just starts straight
Takes
up?
over your world.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Starts up when you turn on the car, right?
Yep.
Yes. So I was sort of thinking about this song when I heard. I was like, oh my God, that's a psychological construct. Oh, that thing he's talking about there. Oh, that's a psychological construct. And so Ed Sheeran's Bad Habits is kind of what got us here, right now,
Into our good habits.
into our good habits.
Yeah.
Of releasing a podcast every Monday on your favorite podcast network.
Love the plug there. That's perfect timing. And you know what? For that, I will give Ed a lot of respect. Thank you, Ed.
Props to Ed.
Props to Ed.
Yeah.
Just because I'm not a fan, look, and look, just because I've never really given him the time of day like his songs, and I have heard his songs. It's not like I've never heard of Ed Sheeran or any of his
Yeah,
music.
you've not been living under a rock.
I haven't completely been living under a rock. Where am I going with it? But I do respect him as an artist and a musician greatly, and I respect all artists and musicians. Just because might not like something, it doesn't necessarily mean I hate them or anything. I still respect it because they wouldn't be doing what they're doing if they weren't where they're at now. They wouldn't be doing something that's successful, and I can't be jealous or envious of that.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's a testament to like a few universal sort of strengths, isn't it? Like the fact that they've been vulnerable enough to show up and be seen, and to believe in themselves enough to keep pushing their work, and that they've kind of given it a shot, given the dream a shot, which, you know, as Brené Brown says, you can't be brave without being vulnerable. And
well, that's right.
And that's what artists do. So even if you don't like their music, we can appreciate some universal truths about artists, which are that they have given it a shot. They've put themselves out there, and people have related to them. People relate to their music, and so many people relate to Ed Sheeran's music, I think, because he's kind of a, you know, he's a real, I'm going to have to look this word up actually, a real troubadour. Is that what it is? A troubadour.
Yeah, probably.
Who is
troubadour.
Yeah, who well, I think, you know, it's kind of a word for a poet, but it was a French medieval lyrical poet composing and singing in the 11th to the 13th centuries of courtly love, right? So Ed speaks in his lyrics a lot. He's quite sentimental. He speaks a lot about, you know, longing and heartbreak, and that sort of limerence phase of romance, which is where we're kind of not in the comfort zone yet, but you know, we're still in the thrill zone. So that's Ed with his little, is it a 3/4 size guitar? He's got a little guitar, and and he uses a capo a lot. I've noticed that. For our friends at home, what's a capo? Yeah, what's a capo?
Well, a capo is essentially, it just changes the pitch of the guitar. So by placing it anywhere on the neck, strings on a guitar have tension. So you have tension at the body and tension at the head. We'll put it to real lay terms. And then you have the neck. So having no tension gives you full range. As soon as you start putting tension anywhere in that spot on the neck, it shortens the strings, therefore it shortens the pitch of the sound. So just like putting, like, you know, your whole finger all over the, you know, the strings anywhere on the neck, your finger can be a capo.
So it's making the pitch higher. Is that what it's doing?
Pitch higher.
The pitch is higher
by making the string shorter in length.
Well, that's what Ed does. Signature move. No, not really. I'm not sure.
No, I was going to say, a lot of artists use a capo. That's right.
Yeah, but if we're getting into interesting tidbits, carry on. What else you got for me?
Yeah. Well, not so much. I haven't gone into interesting tidbits just yet.
Jump
because
the gun.
I was going to. Well,
that's a bad habit of mine.
How dare you? I think this episode's going to actually be full of our bad habits coming out, you know? No, I was going to say, back onto the respect of Ed Sheeran.
Yes.
If you can fill a stadium of people just with yourself, an acoustic guitar, and a loop pedal.
Yeah, mate.
And make a crowd go
Wild.
wild. I was gonna say engaged and really like enthralled into your songs. That's a massive hats off. Like I really respect that. Just because I personally wouldn't go see.
You don't listen to his music.
No, but I think like you don't need, once again, back to the basics. You don't need, elaborate other musicians to play along with you. You don't need to make your music so grandiose. It's just like, well, nope, that's just me, my guitar, my loops. I use the guitar as a percussion instrument as well, so that's how he gets the beats to his songs, by using the guitar as a drum. You're hitting certain parts of the body.
Pedal.
And the loop pedal it plays back what he's played.
Yes.
So he then plays along with it, and he adds layers to it, and it makes it sound like he's a full band with just him.
Yeah.
So
he's
really cool.
He's crafty.
Yeah. Oh, and as a guitarist myself, I have loop pedals, and I still struggle to. I've tried to do the whole Ed Sheeran, like use my guitar as a percussion instrument and then try and play along to it. It's really hard. So mega respect.
Yeah.
Mega respect.
Mega respects. Props to Ed. Our hats are off to him, and what a legend. What a living legend.
It is. So when you suggested let's do this song, I just thought, oh, it's going to be another one of Ed's acoustic songs, because obviously I don't know his catalog. So I wasn't expecting a complete 360 of
no, mate.
Ed's music. I was like, oh, there's no acoustic. It's just him and acoustic guitar. Like this is a dance track. Like what? 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 It threw me.
Yeah.
Because I only know probably whatever the radio plays of Ed's songs,
Yeah, see.
I couldn't even tell you what.
I can't even think of what. Castle on the Hill. I'll give you that one for free.
Sure.
Don't even know.
All I know is that. Shape
of You. That's one. Yes.
Sure. That's probably the only one. Only because that intro is quite easy. Like it's a memorable intro. Like that gets stuck in your head.
Ed, if you're listening,
I couldn't tell you any others.
Ed, if you're listening, we're really sorry.
Well, no, you've got a fan here, Ed. She doesn't.
Yeah.
Mo doesn't need to be apologizing, and I need to be apologizing.
Well, I mean, am I a fan? What is a fan? Someone who's fanatical, I suppose. I'm not fanatical, but I do. I wouldn't turn him off the radio if it can. I wouldn't shut down my Spotify playlist. I wouldn't shut it down.
That's a fan.
I'd let it happen.
That's it. That's someone who's a fan.
Is it?
In a
But
nutshell.
I've never purchased an album. I don't have his poster on my wall. I just respect that he's a very talented artist who has a little bit to say, and certainly said a little bit in this song, Bad Habits. But before we get to that, we got so many tidbits about this guy. I mean, he's just a bit of a legend, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You probably know more of his actual history than I do. But obviously, starting off, we all know how Ed started his career, but for those who don't know, started busking on the streets, which is once again, and we've talked about, artists in the previous episodes who just did it out on their own and blew up, didn't need fancy producers or media or, big record labels trying to push them out there and say, here's the next best thing.
Ed did it himself.
Yeah, did it himself.
So he's
just busking on the streets.
Busking on the streets. Well, let's go back a little bit further than that. The history tells us that Ed was into a lot of different music when he was younger, but I suppose the most formative influence was Damien Rice. And a little interesting tidbit that I found was that his dad took him to a Damien Rice concert when he was 11. And he after that, he bought a loop pedal and a notebook, And that's where it all began at the age of 11. And at 16, he left school and he just hightailed it from West Yorkshire. Oh, he might have been living somewhere else then, but that's where he was born. And he hightailed it into London to make it as a musician. He did a lot of busking, as you said, couch surfing, playing lots of gigs, burning CDs. For our younger listeners, you might go, "What's that?"
Yep. Doing it the hard slog. I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
You know,
he didn't have a bed at some times during his
No.
and that is the I suppose the beauty of youth is that that risk taking part of your brain has not closed over yet, so you still take a lot of risks
Yeah, that's it.
in late adolescence. That probably doesn't fully sort of develop until you're about 25. So yeah, so young adults are full of throwing caution to the wind. I mean, that's a massively risky thing for a 16-year-old to do, to up
It is.
stumps and try to make his way with very limited resources to the big city, London of all places, and just get out there and busk. And yeah,
He probably thought I'll either sit on this couch and do nothing, or I'll go out and do something.
yes, I can. Yeah,
And I've got a talent. I might as well show people that I can do it.
I can sit in my bedroom playing to nobody, or I can just get out there and give it a red hot nudge
Yeah.
and see what comes of it. And and come of it did. He's a global mega superstar. But
That's right.
there was a few steps in
yeah.
between, wasn't there? There's a few steps in between. I think one of the other interesting tidbits, I've taken over.
That's all right.
I've taken over AJ, because I know more than you about Ed, and
That's
and when
fine.
we get to Rush songs, you're going to be taking over. And you know what's going to be
That's
going
true.
on in my head when you start talking about it? Do you know
This will be you.
the circus music?
going on?
Na, 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 na.
That's it.
That's what's going to be going on in my head. No, just so
Inland.
Inland. You got any other interesting tidbits, or shall I carry on?
No, I'm going to take over because
Yep.
I want to do some interesting, because I did do research on the as much, like, once again,
Yes.
I still researched,
Yeah.
still gave it a
Red
red
hot
hot
go.
crack, as they say.
Well, should we?
That's it.
Should we talk a little bit more about Ed himself, or should we move on to the song? Because I've got more tidbits about Ed that I have read in my travels.
Please do.
should
I'm sure the
I-
listeners would love to know the
Yeah.
interesting tidbits about Ed.
Okay,
Absolutely.
all right.
Even myself, because I, as a new listener, I know nothing, so I'll be learning
there you
something
go.
along with the listeners.
All right. Well, in the spirit of true grit and hard graft, we will continue along Ed's path with talking about his how he sort of blew up, and how he blew up was he was releasing stuff on YouTube in
the good
2010.
old YouTube.
Yeah. And it sort of gained traction on YouTube, and then Jamie Foxx took him in. So Jamie Foxx,
Ah.
yeah,
The actor.
yeah, the
Jamie
actor,
Foxx.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
somehow Ed convinced him or convinced Jamie Foxx's manager to let him perform at an open mic night in LA. And Jamie Foxx was so impressed, he offered
wow.
him his couch in his studio for 6 weeks. And Jamie literally became his fairy godfather. And
That's so cool. Well, because I was just thinking, okay, but Jamie Foxx is also a musician.
yes,
Like he's actually a really good singer
yes,
too. Because I was like, oh yeah, no, he played Ray Charles in the Ray Charles biopic.
that's right. Yes.
Okay,
Well-
I'm seeing the connection now between between
Yeah.
Jamie Foxx and Ed Sheeran. I'm like, why would a random actor But oh no,
Yeah,
Jamie Foxx is also a musician.
and has a studio.
Yeah.
And let Ed camp out in there and make some music. So, and then,
How cool is that? Honestly, who wouldn't like? How cool is it that you get free studio? Like any musician would kill for free studio time.
So,
Oh man,
these people really saw something in it. Yeah, some talent, something that was like different that people would kind of feel akin to, Yeah. So then, Buzz got around and Elton John and Taylor Swift started to vouch for him. And so, yeah. And so Taylor Swift invited him to open for her tour. I think it was her Red tour, exposing him to hundreds of thousands of Swifties across the globe. And
that's all he needed.
That's all he needed. He signed with Atlantic Records. He released his Plus debut album. And he has, kind of been in the charts regularly ever since. And this is kind of like back in the early 2010s, I think 2011. But he's not really a conventional pop star. He did all this as a pretty average, awkward bloke with just a guitar, a loop pedal, a capo.
Yeah, that's right.
And
and good old capo.
A capo and an ability to, tap into what the populace is feeling and to, tap into, I suppose, people's sense of sentimentality and love and longing and loss and speak what people feel, sing and produce art that is aligned with what people feel. And that's why we've all fallen in love with Ed. Not you. Not this guy.
You're slowly.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'll lovingly respect.
Yeah. Yes.
Ed, how's that?
Yes.
I'll lovingly respect.
The graft and the grit and the determination.
Well, that's right. And for someone who can write who's writes a hit song in 20 minutes, like.
Yes. Right.
Come on.
Yeah.
Seriously.
He has written.
He's very good.
He's very good. He's written many hits in a short space of time, and he just shows you don't have to be flashy to become a megastar. You can just have talent and the ability to get people in the feels. That's all you need. That's all you need, and kind of the guts and the determination to put yourself out there.
That's
so
it.
Well done.
So then, well done.
Well done,
Absolutely
Ed.
well done.
Well done.
So now I'm thinking, because Bad Habits is none of that.
Right.
So did he have an well, not an epiphany, but did he go, I'm sick of writing acoustic loop pedal songs. I want to do something different.
Why don't you tell me? Give me some interesting tidbits about Bad Habits. What'd you find out?
I think that's what I found out. He wanted to release something unexpected.
Yeah.
Because obviously, I'm assuming it was his executives went, now Ed, it's time to write another pop song. What have you got for us?
Yeah.
Where's that acoustic guitar? Why isn't it in the room with us? And he's gone, no, I'm going to do something different. I don't want to write an acoustic ballad or an acoustic, single acoustic pop song. I want to go dance.
Yeah.
Dance music all the way.
EDM, electronic dance music. And
that's right.
It's not like he had a shortage of songs. He claims he's written over 1,000, but he's decided to just, take a little detour from what would be expected of him, right? So
right.
he wanted to shake off that, as you said, that acoustic, emotional, earnest expectation of him as an artist, and move into some synth some club beats. It's the kind of song that you feel like when it starts, you know, it's the kind of song that would just be a background to sipping a cocktail at sunset at a rooftop bar. But no.
Yeah. And I think this song is also like, I don't know, he's still young, but a little bit of a midlife crisis because it happened during lockdown. So obviously, you know, what did we all do during lockdown?
Yeah.
We pretty much ate and drank our sorrows away.
Right.
or we had children during lockdown.
Right.
So all those three happened for Ed during lockdown. He just recently became a dad. He said he fell into late night snacking and drinking during lockdown.
Right.
So I think he was regressing before, you know, to how he was, you know, before being a parent. And I think he kind of missed that, you know, I can't go out nightclubbing anymore and I can't enjoy a late night drink or, you know, and get really drunk and then be like, oh man, I'm so hungry. I could go a kebab.
Right.
You know.
Because, you know, we were all busting out after the pandemic and the COVID lockdowns. Like, you're right. This is maybe a pandemic post-lockdown binge song because we were re-entering the world as emotionally sensation-starved beasts, ready to get out there and make up for lost time and overdo it. Right. Okay. So Ed just feeling those.
It's like I'm not going to clubs anymore, but I really wish I was going back. I was clubbing right now. You know, it's like, you know, well, once again, bad habits. It's like, I know I shouldn't be eating, you know, all this bad food, but I just can't stop. I want to go back to it. It's my comfort zone. It makes me feel really, you know, warm and fuzzy inside. And I think that's why he wrote.
Well, that's what all bad
he
habits make us do, really, is the desire to feel
right.
warm and fuzzy inside. That's why we continue to chase our bad habits, is to chase away our pain by feeling warm and fuzzy inside. I mean, we can get into the psychological themes if you have sort of no more interesting tidbits about the making of this song or about, you know.
Oh no, I've got a couple of interesting.
Carry on,
you've had
son.
lots of interesting.
Carry on.
Please, sir.
Yes.
Please carry on, sir.
Go ahead.
So even though he wrote like this song, and obviously the labels weren't expecting this an EDM dance track, they were really nervous to put it out there.
Were they?
But yeah, they were like, oh, I don't think this is going to work out. You know, people are expecting you to, you know, come out with a new song that's got an acoustic guitar, but you know, he insisted, and
Boy, didn't he show them.
He totally showed them, and it became #1 in the UK.
Wow. And I bet it stayed there for quite a few weeks.
It did. So let's quickly do the
stats.
Do the stats.
Okay, give it to me.
The interesting tidbit stats.
Yeah.
#1 in the UK singles charts for 11 weeks. Became the longest running UK #1 of 21. Certified 4 times platinum in the UK. Peaked at #2 in the Billboard 100 Hottest 100 in the US. Yeah. Global highlights: #1 in Australia, Germany, Canada, Ireland, Norway, Sweden, and several other countries. Top 10 in over 30 countries. Spent over 40 weeks on many major charts, indicating a strong longevity.
Holy dooly.
Over 1.5 billion streams on Spotify. One of the top 10 most streamed songs globally.
I think I added
2021.
to a few of those streams just in this past week as we did our research for this song. Carry on.
Music video, 900 plus million views.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
by taking a bold risk and doing something out of your comfort zone,
Paid off.
it paid off.
Dividends.
It's funny how one song paid off.
Yeah, one song could sustain him for his whole life, I'm sure.
Yeah. But he also did this song because at the same time Adele was writing new music too, and he didn't want to compete with Adele because she was still writing. Well, Adele writes, you know, piano ballads and And he didn't want to
emo
compete
stuff,
with
emotional,
the emo stuff. Yeah.
heartbreak, longing, love,
Yeah.
sadness, grief. That's her signature move.
Yeah. And he felt that there was no point competing in her lane. So he's like,
Oh, what a nice
okay.
guy. Talented
I know, right?
and a nice guy.
And humble, talented and humble.
Oh my goodness. You can really,
so-
this could really go to your head, but not for Ed.
Yeah. So he said, screw it. I'll just write a dance track and let Adele have her pop ballads.
That is just so nice.
Yeah.
To kind of, not steal anyone else's sunshine.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Ah, props to Ed.
But I'm sure there was, he goes, and look, we're not silly. Ed knew that, he goes, no matter what I produce, people are going to love it.
Yeah, they're going to eat
So
it
even
up
if
with a spoon.
They're going to eat it up for sure. So he goes, Adele, I know you can have your lane because I know I'm going to, whatever,
Yeah.
even if I bring out a dance track, I'm Ed Sheeran. People are gonna love it.
They're going to love it. They're going to get into it.
That's
and
it.
into it they did. And,
Yeah.
and while we're toe tapping away, I mean, there is some dark stuff that's sitting underneath this. Shall I?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, even his film clip is really dark as well. He dresses up as an androgynous vampire, which no one was expecting, I think, of that either.
Yeah.
When I watched the film clip, I was like, oh, it's actually, and I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it reminds me very much of like 80s Annie Lennox,
That
the
Sweet
way she
Dreams era.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the makeup, the big eyeshadow and the suits, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, like
So maybe
I can see where he's going with this.
That's a nod to some of his influence, although he wasn't born anywhere near the 80s. But
No.
yeah. Okay. And I
Well,
guess it's an
if you think of like Sweet Dreams is technically a dance song, that
synth, yes, the synth pop.
like I'm sure that song was played heavily in clubs of the time. So
Yeah.
I reckon, look,
It's a nod.
I reckon there's some big nods.
It's a nod to his fellow Brit artists, the Eurythmics and Annie Lennox. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And I guess it's, one of the things that, is a determinant of good mental health is play. When you can play, it's food for your soul and your mental health. I think Freud said it that, work, play, love is, or work, love, play. I don't know in what order. That, they're all good representations and determinants of good mental health. And so Ed's ability to get into character, pay homage to some of his influences, give them a bit of a nod in his film clip and get out there as an androgynous vampire with all the bats, kind of, a visual representation of him kind of coming alive at night with his bad habits. Is a good way for him to have played. He's playing with all of these themes and all of these influences, and sounds like it's probably pretty enriching for Ed to have engaged in that creative process.
I think so. And I think he was probably also a little bit sick of himself, people seeing him as just, once again, just this not one-dimensional, but,
one note.
One note, like, going down the Adele lane, not much has changed in the Adele lane. So he probably thought, if I put on a persona or a costume, people won't know it's me. So you can almost hide in the, as a vampire, hide in the crowd. People don't know you're a vampire because you look like everyone else, but secretly you are someone else, different.
Yeah. Yes.
And so this is my thinking and understanding of things is, how else do we escape? Or, like celebrities, if they want to go out in the real world, they go in a disguise because they don't want people to notice who they are and then bombard them.
Yeah.
But it makes them feel a little bit like, oh, sneaky, but like,
Yeah.
I feel comfortable because no one knows who I am, and I can be comfortable in this outfit and this costume. I think it's a
Yes.
good, like, it's a safe getaway.
It is a safe getaway, a nice departure from his regular persona of the busking troubadour who doesn't need a lot of layers, who's
No.
just quite naked, so to speak, metaphorically, not literally. That would be illegal.
Yeah.
That
Yes, that's right.
that would be antisocial.
Unless he goes to a nudist beach where it is legal.
That's right.
We don't know.
And we do not.
There's nothing wrong with
no,
that.
we do not nudity shame. We don't slut shame. We don't.
No,
You do you, boo. And we
that's it.
and we certainly don't. Shame or blame when people make frantic attempts to escape their real lives and their pain through some bad habits.
No,
Yeah.
no. Now I'm going to add something. And
Carry
you,
on.
And you can probably, in small doses though, we don't want to be living completely in our bad habits. 'Cause then you're going down a deep, dark wormhole that you may not be able to get off.
No, because you know what? I mean, sometimes it looks like partying, right? But it is just deep compulsion to avoid our own internal pain, masquerading as a little bit of a lifestyle, and if we're thinking about bad habits, we are engaging in behaviors to escape our pain despite the negative consequences, which is a hallmark of addiction patterns.
Yeah.
So, it's all about, and look, I'm getting into the psychological analysis now. Should I carry on?
Let's keep going. Keep going.
Yeah.
We're in it. Let's go.
We're in it. I mean, I think this song is really kind of all about compulsive behavior. It's about sort of the sensation-seeking behaviors to, move us out of our pain into sort of an escapism and possibly sort of, trying to induce dopamine, which is that, feel-good neurotransmitter. It's hits the reward center of our brain and it makes us feel euphoric. Sometimes addiction will make us do that while ignoring the consequences. And there's a lot of costs to using substances or engaging in risk-taking behaviours. There's a lot of costs to that. We can feel, yes, go on, AJ.
Even if it is junk food. Even if it is just junk food.
Right.
It doesn't have to necessarily be drugs
No.
or heavy alcohol. It could just be, just eating crappy food all the time.
Yeah, let's think about the costs of that. The costs of, using food to soothe our pain. The costs to that are, gaining weight, high cholesterol, affecting your sugar levels. You can't half tell that we're old and those things are a concern for us.
And look, lucky the camera's only seeing the top half and not the bottom half. So
Yeah. But, let's look at some other compulsive behaviours that aren't just drugs. I mean, highly sexualised behaviours. If we look, they've got a lot of costs. They can certainly, cost you money if you're frequently dating, and they can cost you time. They can cost you your sexual health. If you're not careful, if you take too many risks, they can cost you, real intimacy, which, of course, is something that some people with, avoidant attachment might try to avoid, and sort of the construct around avoidant attachment is that, caregivers and, early in life have been inconsistent or unpredictable, and so they've been rather scary to get close to, rather dangerous, because, you sort of never know what you're your caregiver's going to do. So you start to avoid attachment. So they're sort of seeking the dopamine high of intimacy without the attachment, you know, without letting people get too close. But we are using
Yeah.
the intimacy as a way to numb something, as a way to numb, I don't know, like maybe shame. So we might be seeking validation through the intimacy. We might be seeking the sexual high. So it's yeah, it can become problematic. We're just so really what the song is about addiction and compulsive behaviors. And they're often used. Addiction is often used to escape a whole range of pains, anxiety and shame and depression. But it can come at a cost. It can actually sort of start to perpetuate and reinforce these feelings that we have about ourselves. So, if you kind of think a night out will fix you and your problems, you're only going to wake up to a half-eaten kebab and a crushing sense of your own self-awareness and
a really bad
hangover and anxiety, because alcohol can affect your nervous system and alcohol
and your memory. Like, oh man, what happened
memory.
last night?
Yeah.
What did I do?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
And that's going to those thoughts are going to further dysregulate your nervous system, and you are going to feel very discombobulated the next day. So
that's it. But I was also going to say, another thing that people use bad habits for, or is trying to relive a past memory that they thought was, like, oh, I really wish I met, like, and I think this is what Ed's doing in this song. Now that he's a dad, he misses doing all those things that he could do when he wasn't a dad, when he was a lot younger. And I think a lot of people go, oh man, I really wish the times when I was single, or when I had this, or this one time when I was, on a real high, and I really just want that back again. They kind of regress to this state of this memory that just
of when they were
playing on repeat.
Yeah, when they were footloose and fancy free, and there were no stressors and obligations, and when the only person that you have to look after is yourself, and a time when you were free. Like, I can see that. I can also see that, that's the time of your life where you have no limits, right? And in the lyrics, he talks about every time you come around, I can't say no. Every time the sun goes down, I let you take control. That's the part of me that has no limits. I'm gonna let myself indulge. But then he is noticing the costs when he says, I can feel the paradise before my world implodes. And tonight had something wonderful. Tonight was the dopamine hit. Tonight was the night where you could cut loose, forget about the consequences, but they will always show up. The price will always show up, because he talks about my bad habits lead to late nights ending alone. And, there's the sort of detachment, the desire for, maybe intimacy to spark the dopamine high, but never being able to attach, not having fear and shame around deep, close emotional connections. So he's having conversations with a stranger I barely know, right? And noticing the costs of this behavior again. He is swearing this will be the last, but it probably won't. Although he's got nothing left to lose or use or do. His bad habits lead to wide eyes staring into space, which sort of speaks to maybe when the come down starts happening, and all of the feelings of guilt, shame, regret come flooding back in. He sort of goes into a dissociative state. He has to dissociate from his reality to be able to manage and contain the very painful feelings that have come up as he is sitting in the come down of his behavior.
Yeah. That's right. Especially if you're in a relationship where the other half of your, the relationship is not into that. So they're like, oh, I'm going to bed. I can't deal with this, So they've just, and once again you're left alone. Or if you go out and once again, like you said, talking to strangers to try and be a friend. And actually, we're going to bring Rush into this episode.
Okay.
There's a line of a lyric from one of their famous songs called Limelight, which is called, I can't pretend a stranger is a long-awaited friend.
No.
And I think, no.
No.
And which talks about living in the limelight as a famous, musician.
Yeah.
Every stranger wants to be your friend at the wrong time.
Yes. Okay. So say it again. I can't call us. No. What are they saying?
I can't. Now I've got a mind blank. I can't pretend a stranger is a long-awaited friend.
No, you can't pretend a stranger is a long-awaited friend for many different reasons. Psychologically, particularly if you've got an avoidant attachment style, because you're probably not going to want to get close to that stranger. You're probably not going to want to enter into a long-awaited friendship with a stranger, because your avoidant attachment will sound the alarm in your nervous system and say, people are unpredictable, people can't be trusted, and so this is a no-go zone. So yes,
but when you are in that state of mind, you do think that strangers are a long-awaited friend.
Well, yes,
because
if you have impaired limits and you are risk-taking and sensation-seeking, yes, you do, but you probably only let them get close to a point. And then it goes no further. Potentially, it's intimate, but it's not connected in a way. Maybe Ed's, maybe Ed's on that track too when he talks about, conversations with strangers that he barely knows and swearing this will be the last time, but it probably won't. Saying, I know that this isn't good for me. So, but he never follows through, because every pure intention, is what he says, ends when the good times start. So when he's in the come down and assessing the costs and trying to talk himself into the fact that he won't do this again, he still feels a compulsion and an urge to do it.
Yeah.
So, and that is about self-sabotage. He only knows how to go too far. But, lack of moderation and lack of limits isn't fun. It's really frantic. It's chaotic. And, he's probably sitting in sort of, and we talked about schemas maybe at the start of the episode, and a schema. We did talk a little bit about schemas. And schemas are sort of maladaptive patterns of behavior, thinking, and feeling that, emerge from our early caregivers, and they emerge from sort of unmet needs in early caregiver relationships, and they sort of end up as deep and core beliefs that we hold about ourselves and other people and the world. And there's sort of like a mental filter through which we look at the world. And so, a child that is often unloved or overlooked might develop a schema like, I'm unworthy, or people will always leave me, Or if there's,
right.
you know, a child that feels like they must, you know, they're pressured to perform, they might develop a schema like, you know, I've got, in order to be accepted, then I must, you know, achieve all the time. I must, you know, I must win. I must, yeah, I must be good at everything. You know, maybe it sort of sits in starts to sit in perfectionism. So that's sort of a schema. You know, is
Yeah.
maladaptive patterns of thinking, feeling, and behaving. And you know, if we ever get really popular, and some of our little psychology colleagues might want to join us for an episode.
Yeah. Yeah.
The gods of schema therapy in Australia, one of them might join us. Their names are Rob
Ooh.
Brockman and Chris Hayes. They're the rock stars of schema therapy,
Yeah, cool.
and I don't know if I'm explaining it very well. So you know, Rob and Chris, if you ever listen to this, I have done level 1 and level 2 training, but
Here's Mo trying to justify her schema.
right.
It's okay. I've done level 1 and 2. You know,
Done my level
that's-
1 and 2. Try to
That's
use
it.
it. Try to use it in practice. But anyway, if we're thinking about Ed Sheeran and you know, some of the things that are emerging in the Bad Habits song, you know, it might be some of his behavior might be schema driven. You know, particularly there's a schema that's called it's a defectiveness schema, or a self-punitive schema, you know. So he's like, if I believe I'm flawed, you know, I might act in ways that confirm that I'm flawed, but then punish myself afterwards. You know, he's going too far, but then he's attacking himself in the aftermath. So, and then he's regretting. He's just deep in regret. You know, it's like this song is sort of, you know, it's the modern day equivalent of maybe deleting Tinder every Sunday and vowing never to get on it again, and then
then the Monday
downloading
you're on it.
and then downloading it by, you know, midweek. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I associate bad habits as binging.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
yeah.
you said, you know, you go and you just don't stop till it's like,
Yeah.
okay, when your body tells you
Yeah.
now I need to stop, and that's whether like you throw up or you pass out or you you know,
or you feel satisfied, you know, like, yeah. I mean, it
Do
could
you ever
go,
feel satisfied from binging?
well, you
Like
know,
binging
there is
something?
a point where you go, okay, that's it. I can't eat anymore, or I can't drink anymore, or,
Yeah.
you know, or your
Yeah.
body tells you, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So,
So I think when you got to have with bad habits, it comes binging. I
you
think.
reckon bad habits are binging? Yeah, I reckon that there's binging is part of it for sure.
Yeah.
There's you know, it's like I'm gonna get all up in it. I'm gonna get all up in life,
That's
and
right.
I can't stop.
I gotta relive the moment. So what do I do?
Or live in the
I just
moment. Live in the
and I
moment,
just
like
down it all. Down it all.
down it all. But then it just like ends up in regret, doesn't it? It's sort of what we would call psychologically this thing called ego dystonic behavior. So there's, you know, two things. There's ego syntonic behavior. It's where you behave and you act in line with your values, right? Like, so
Yep,
you
yep.
just you say to yourself, right, I'm all about moderation, and then you act in moderate ways. You know,
Yep.
you have the cookie, but you only have one, and
Yep.
you allow yourself. I'll eat Macca's, but I'll only have a burger. Or I won't have a
only have it
Sunday.
once a week.
I'll only have it once a week, right? So that's ego syntonic, where, you know, our values, we're behaving in a way that our egos value. So the ego is, I mean, if you really want, let's get into it. Let's talk. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Freud, okay?
All right.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Okay. And if you're
Freud on me.
I'm going to Freud on you.
That
I'm going to
sounded so
Freud
wrong.
all over you. Yeah, I wonder if that's someone's bad habit. I wonder if there's...
Oh, that's the best.
Yeah, isn't it? I wonder if there's any psychoanalysts out there who really get off on Freuding on people.
Now, that was a Freudian slip if there ever was one.
So, what do you mean? Which part was the Freudian slip? Freuding.
Well,
I'm going to
well,
Freud all
I'm gonna
Freud all
Freud
over
all
you.
over
Yeah,
you.
that is a bit of a Freudian slip. I don't know why it's in my mind, but I'm going to say it. It also reminds me of the word frotterism. Have you ever heard of that? Okay.
No.
Well, this could be someone's bad habit. Dopaminergenic, like dopamine seeking behavior. Yeah. You ready for this one? I think the listeners might love this one too. It's a funny one. Frotterism is a, what do they call it? It's a paraphilia, which is kind of a sexual perversion. Yeah. You ready for this one? It happens it happens on public transport a lot. It's where men just put their junk on people. Just like push their junk into people. Just get your junk on someone.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's frotterism.
Right. I
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to go on a packed train anymore.
No. Well, I suppose there's a lot at play there. It is it's highly non-consensual.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. As I don't know if any of our listeners might be RuPaul's Drag Race fans, but there is a drag queen called Latrice Royale, and she is famous for saying, "Get these nuts out of my face." Anyway, so get those nuts off my body parts.
Yeah, that's right. Do not Freud on me.
Do not
Whatever
Freud-
you do, do
Yeah,
not Freud on
Do not
me.
Freud on me. Do not frot on me. Do not Freud on me. Anyway, I digress. I digress. Yeah, I'm going to
Freudisms.
Freud all over everybody. And we've been a bit more playful in this episode, so I do hope that I get it right for my psychotherapist, counselor, psychologist, mental health social worker friends out there. But Freud theorized that the human psyche is constructed of a few parts. One of them is sort of the first one is called the id. It is the primitive unconscious part of the mind, which contains our instincts and our drives and our desires, especially for sex, aggression, and pleasure. It operates on the pleasure principle, so it wants immediate gratification, and it wants now, regardless of the consequences. It is that's our id. Why are you laughing?
So, all I can think about you say is the people just rubbing up on randoms in a packed train.
Oh,
That's
so
like,
we're still on frotterism?
Is that their id? Is it like?
It could be their
Their id.
id. It could be their id.
Okay.
It could be their bad
Right.
habit, right? It's the thing that's sensation seeking, right?
Yeah.
But anyway,
okay.
I'm kind of Freuding all over everybody because I want to sort of get to what is ego dystonic and ego syntonic, because I need to explain what the ego is. So Freud said the psyche is in three parts: the id, right, which is all the drives and it's driven by the pleasure principle, and then we've got the superego, which is kind of the I suppose the very strict overlord of the psyche that disavows anything that is antisocial or what it deems to be wrong, right? So it kind of looks like this. The id says, I want 500 donuts and I want them now. And then the superego, which is kind of on the outside of the psyche, says, no, donuts shouldn't exist. But then the ego, which is the conscious, sort of healthy adult, moderates between the id and the superego, and it says, well, you could have one donut maybe once a week and that would be okay. So if we're thinking about things that are ego syntonic or ego dystonic, our ego is that adult part of us that kind of sets the limits that are not too overbearing from the superego and are not too antisocial and damaging from the id. And
Yeah.
and the healthy adult part, the ego, so to speak, says, okay, here's my values. Here's how we want to operate in life. I want to operate with moderation. And then when we operate with moderation, that is ego syntonic. We are doing the thing that our ego doesn't disavow, that it welcomes. But when we operate outside of that, and it's a bit more like, the id, seeking pleasure and to the hell with consequences, it's a bit ego dystonic. It's kind of against our values and our goals. And
Right.
are you
Yep.
with me?
I'm with you.
Okay.
I'm totally with you.
So in sum, I think that this song really is, the healthy adult part of Ed, or Ed's persona in this song, kind of trying to show up and say, hey mate, I think what's happening here is kind of hurting you. And
Yep.
the id is saying, no mate, get all up in life. I want you to go and put your junk on someone.
Go balls deep. Go balls deep.
Put your junk on someone on a packed
That's
train
it.
and do it now, and do it every peak hour.
That's right. Oh, jeez.
But the healthy adult is saying, no, we can't do that, because
No.
that's non-consensual and that hurts others and that hurts ourselves. So we have to find other ways to escape reality that are consensual and,
Yep.
and that are healthy
That's right.
and adaptive.
And that's it. And you know what the ego is saying?
What's the ego saying?
It's not a dirty word. And on that note,
Skyhooks, yes. It's not.
That's
Maybe we will analyze ego is not a dirty word, because it's not. Because we
that'd be
all
good.
want kind of a healthy adult to
That's
modulate
it.
between our parts. So we'll thank you very much, Shirl Strawn and Skyhooks, circa 1970
Yes.
something.
Something. Yep. 77, I want to say.
1977, you want to say? I don't know.
I want to say.
Yeah, the world lost a legend when they lost Shirl Strawn. Anyway, we will we digress, and we will get to that on another episode. So, in sum, let's wrap it up.
Yep.
I think that
1975.
1975,
2 years off.
it was a good year.
That was a good year.
In sum, the closing thought is that beneath the synths and, the EDM beats and, it's a sobering truth about, how some people cope, and that's with bad habits and the internal struggle that emerges from engaging and indulging in our bad habits.
Yep.
So until next time, AJ.
Yeah. I hope this episode wasn't a bad habit. People.
I hope it wasn't, and I hope we haven't. I hope we haven't shocked people with.
I just hope people. I hope we don't hear in the news that the amount of people catching the trains have decreased.
And there's been a surge in incidents of frauderism.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. People are coming out.
Yeah. Oh dear. All right,
dear.
AJ.
All
Well,
right.
that's us done. Signing off from Songs on the Couch. See you next time.
See you next time.
See ya. Thanks for tuning in to Songs on the Couch. We hope you enjoyed putting today's song under the microscope with us.
And hey, the conversation doesn't have to end here. Join us over on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search Songs on the Couch, where we're sharing behind-the-scene clips, more fun music insights, and of course, chatting with you all.
And if you're an artist, musician, psychologist, counsellor, psychotherapist, or know someone who'd love to sit on the couch with us, have your management reach out. We'd love to hear from you at hello@songsonthecouch.com.
Follow us, subscribe, and let's keep rocking out together. Catch you next time on Songs on the Couch.